Weird with no audience.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, how are you doing? Welcome.
Matt, lovely to see you. Good name,
Good
strong name.
afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be back to work. Back off furlough. I'm glad to be back out. I've already done a couple of trainings this week. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be in the game.
Excellent. And nice to be introducing a brand new beer, right? I mean, a couple of weeks it's been out now.
Yeah, it's been out, but I actually only tasted it this morning. Being the fact that we have moved our office and I couldn't just pop in and get a case during the lockdown, it turned up to me yesterday. I had it in the fridge all day. I took the dog out for a walk this morning and had a good taste of it this morning when I got back with the dog. To be honest, it's banging. I'm really happy. We've been working on a vegan beer like this, trying to get this middle of the we've always been famous for our pale ales, and we've been trying to nail a vegan pale ale. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this, to be honest.
Ace. Is that is a very smart looking Big Drop shirt you've got on. I've got to note that to begin with.
Yes.
Loving the match.
Shouldn't really be showing it off. I stole it before they all got sent over to the States for the States team with the actual embroidering. So I don't tell the boss, but I got one of them before they left.
God, you have to try and get Robin to edit this out somehow. I'm not sure it's live, right? So we're screwed on that account. So
I'm sure they'll get over it.
But hey, I've said this phrase already yesterday evening, but for those who, for some reason, don't know who Big Drop are, could you just give a little bit of an introduction to Big Drop and how long they've been going? A bit about the ethos before we get into the beer.
Yeah, amazingly, we were actually the first brewer to exclusively make non-alcoholic beer, and we launched in 2016, going into 2017 with our original core 3 beers. Fast forward 5 years, we've won multiple World Beer Awards for best in category, as well as competing against full strength beers. We've launched in countries all around the globe, from one side to the other, from Australia to America, from Hong Kong to the south of Spain. We've got beers everywhere. So it's been a journey. It's been about making beer, and been about making beer that is not only just an amazing version of that beer we're making, but also a non-alcoholic version.
And there's so much out there about, James and Rob's story. Rob in particular, the times of sort of standing outside a pub in London and just thinking, oh, you know what, I've got to find a better, alcohol-free.
Well, yeah, the truth is, Rob, he's a great character, but he'll tell you the truth that he was running a law firm. He was working. He was, we know what lawyers are like in the city, right on the heart of London, and he was obviously with clients a lot out and drinking, lazing, and then his wife fell pregnant with their second children, and he decided to join her on the non-alcoholic trip. You can tell it's been a while since I've actually done these chats. Right. Tongue-tied. So he joined her with not drinking and found that it was only really generic European de-alcoholized beers, nothing that someone had taken the effort to go and build a beer around being non-alcoholic. It was just an alternative, like replacement. It wasn't about care and passion. And then Rob saw that he would have drunk it, so why wouldn't someone else? And there's a gap in the market.
What about you, Matt? Do you drink a lot of the AFs as well? Like, has your passion grown for it as well?
Well, I've been in the industry. It'll be 20 years this year, which is amazing. I look so young. But yeah, I started in my local pub, and I've worked in bars and hotels and clubs all around the world. And alcohol-free has always been that random bottles in the fridge, the one that you apologize to the customer before you even give it to them. Yeah. Got anything non-alcoholic? Oh, unfortunately, I've only got this brand.
And blow the dust off it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone wonders why it didn't sell. It wasn't treated very well, and it was there forever and never advertised. And I've seen that market change, but I think that was just because of a gap in the market, not because of a trend. Because my parents, who were drinking for a long time before I was born, they've always said, where was something like this? Where was the passion and the care in the lower end of the alcohol market? And the truth is, there's a lot of people out there that would, choose to abstain if there was the option.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that really caught. I've been following Big Drop, not from the very beginning, but since my sort of interest began, and I don't think it's yet peaked, to be fair. But I've been following Big Drop since that beginning, and the focus on just creating a great beer, and it just happened to not have any alcohol in it, is clear.
I do think that the customers nowadays, when you think about the people that choose to not drink, it's no longer people that are just doing it for religious reasons or for social preferences. It's actually healthier. It's better for you. You've got less time. You've got less disposable income. These decisions come up along the way. But the truth is, if someone, how do I describe it best? The best way I've ever described it, I think, for someone was, you might not care about non-alcoholic right now, but one day someone you love will. And the truth is, we're out here trying to drive a market forward rather than just having soft drink replacements or juice replacements. We're trying to give you the options that you get in every other category out there, whether it be craft gin or it be aged Scotch whiskies. There is always craft care, passion, and then levels of quality. And we would just want to be at this end of the quality and provide great options.
Yeah, I love that. And do you think the focus is, there's such a variety. Do you think there'll always be that? Because you've got your core range, you've got your series, you've got your world collabs now.
Yeah. So from our point of view, yes. Yeah. We like, it's a shame Dane isn't here to talk about the American market, because I would love to see all of our beers over there. But, we have to grow each of our aspect. The reason we have so many here in the UK is because we've able to build our market and to get our product out into places and then find out what the customers want. We will continue to do that because we believe that it's about making that beer, making the best version of the beer. So to stay relevant, you have to stay agile and moving and learning. And the reason we do those global collabs is so that we can go, the first time we did it was all UK breweries, but we specialized with people that we'd never done a saison before. So we went and worked with the best people we thought worked on saisons. We do that now. We've gone globally. We want to learn so that our beers, when we add what our magic to it, is still an amazing version of that beer. We don't want to just do a poor replica, because that's the brand we've built. It's been about making a beer that happens to be non-alcoholic rather than just being a non-alcoholic replacement.
Yeah, it's great beer first and then non-alcoholic.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. That's literally what we try to do. And there has been times when we've put a beer out, customers have gone, it's not your standard. So we've gone back, we've worked on it, and we've corrected the recipe. And that's what we want, because we started as a craft thing, we'll stay as a craft thing. We want to continue to be involved and engaged with our own customers. So
and is that going to remain? Do you feel like that will remain core to Big Drop?
Oh yes, I mean, what we're finding actually is that whenever we do these one-off craft specials that are so popular, we end up extending our core range, and we're getting more. And it's we may have to bring back specials in different times because they're so popular, and we always want to do that. There might be a point when we release something special from the UK that the Americans will love, and vice versa, and that's how the business will grow. But we want to, as I said, stay relevant, stay active, and stay definitely with our heart in the craft, because they're the people that launched this and have supported us all the way through. But it's also the inspiration for our own brewers and our teams to come up with these ideas are from the people we speak to and interact with.
Yeah, that's great. It's that kind of constant feedback loop, right? And you need to keep that going. But what an exciting time it must be to be, firstly, got sort of really starting up again in earnest. You've hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we're coming, the end is in sight of this sort of awful time that we've been through. But you've now got these sort of exactly, I'm with you there. You've got these sort of brand new markets that you've kind of jumped into, and it must be, there must be a new sort of buzz about the place virtually.
Do you know what? It's amazing. We were lucky that we pivoted very quickly at the beginning of lockdown, and we went directly to offering small item sales to customers, because the biggest thing that happened was there was just the tap of the trade business just turned off, and we had spent 3.5 years, 4 years building this, and overnight closed. So we not only did we have a lot of beer to sell. We we didn't know what the future was. Furlough wasn't really in place. It was just happening. So we had to pivot. We pivoted quickly, and we reached out and created a customer-based sales. Obviously, we have tried to build on that, but that's been really a good reaction because the customers are out there, and we're able to see that actually the demand is still out there. The hospitality industry can see the demand is still out there. It's growing. So as they're opening the doors again, the conversations are there already. So I've reached out to pretty much all the tap rooms across London in the last 2 weeks and spoken to them and said, just so you know, I'm still around. I'm not pushing it down your throat, but I'm going to be out next week. I'm going to come around. It's, I'm going to be hitting up 12 sites in a day. I don't want to be drunk. So will you have the non-alcoholic beers? So the truth is that I'm going to be running around everywhere, but not only that, the customers are out there and they're going to be there all day, and they might need to have one less pint or a slower burn. So having the low no range in the venues that are open is going to be more important. But also, if we're only just opened up the doors and someone that doesn't drink in your group, you don't want to have to go to Starbucks rather than the local pub because the partner, the third, the fourth guest in the group doesn't drink at all. So you want to have these inclusive options.
And I think people, I speak for myself, but also for other people who, I'm regularly in contact with, a bit fed up of drinking the Coca-Colas and, the high sugar lemonades. And, people are more conscious of other things that are in the diet versions as well. And actually, when you've got an option, like this, for example, you're drinking a vegan craft, it's got some good values in it as well, and it's from a producer who knows good quality.
Like, as I said, we've been trying to strive to be inclusive rather than exclusive. And one of the best bits of feedback you get is, you go to a craft beer show in the middle of Birmingham or up into Edinburgh. You've been booked there for months, and then this guy turns up with his girlfriend who he's bought tickets for, and she's like, by the way, I don't like beer, or I'm pregnant, or I can't drink, and everyone assumes that they can't have anything, and then all of a sudden they come up to this beer and they not only can they have it, they feel included. And the guy, he's like, oh my god, my girlfriend was so mad because she couldn't drink the whole day. Now they have something, and the truth is, once again, it's that joy of being able to include someone that you unfortunately couldn't, whatever the reason, they're driving to pick up the kids later, or the doctors told them to cut back, whatever it is. It's nice to include them. As I said, one day someone you'll love will want the alcohol-free options. So, it is nice to be part of that. I do see it growing. I can't see it going off the boil anytime soon either.
No, I agree. I can't see this just being a trend because there's no real reason for it just being a trend. This was growing sort of in such a big way before lockdown, and and has continued as well. It's been an area that has done really well during this, pretty terrible time.
I think a lot of people, for whatever reason it be, whether it's Joe Wicks first thing in the morning, or if it's Boris Johnson saying he was obese getting sick, like we're all a lot more conscious of our health, especially after being sedentary for like nearly a year. We want to get out and be active, we want to go and do stuff, but unfortunately alcohol can hamper that. Or as much fun as it is to go out and enjoy drinking is a very specific thing. You can't go drinking while riding bikes. You can't go drinking while swimming in a pool with kids. But you can actually have a non-alcoholic beer by the pool, and it's not going to affect you. The truth is the world's changing, and actually, we don't want to drink 4 liters of Coke over a day, or have 300 mils of orange juice, because it's too much sugar for us. And there is a problem in the world of too much sugar consumption, and hopefully having these alternatives, these beer alternatives, will be a better option. I sound like I'm trying to preach to everyone, but we know that they're healthier. We know that they're a healthier option. As much as you think a sports drink's really good for you, it's really not. And that's why across the mainland Europe, they've always been drinking non-alcoholic beers after major sporting events. And we laugh at them and go, oh, look at them drinking beer after a good run. Well, actually, it's going to feel better.
Yeah, and so I'm actually based in Amsterdam. So I'm and I saw the big drop's been in our Sainsbury's local equivalent for in Albert Heijn for since I've been here. And then when I moved over to alcohol free, it was like, Big Drop, what? Brilliant.
I knew this.
Yeah. Well, I just scooted straight past that section before, so
and
it was
that's the
probably
mad
there
thing, isn't it? It's a mad thing, and the truth is, I don't think it's just us. There's plenty of people out there. I've always said it's nice to be a big fish, but I'd rather be in a bigger pond. I'd much rather be fighting up against all of these great competitors to show what we can do, show what they can do, and especially what the craft industry could do. And I've always said to every craft brewery we work with, like, we're not trying to take away from yourselves. If you want to make a 0.5, put it there next to ours. It's great, amazing. But the truth is, it's quite hard work and it's a lot of effort. So if you're making amazing 7 points, strength beers, why don't you let us make these ones? It's easier. Just put them in the fridge and go along. But brewers should learn these skills. It's just as difficult as the high end beers. And the market's growing. And as I said, I'd love to see more and more people out there doing it, because it increases the options. As we said, inclusivity. We want to be out there in a market where everyone gets what they want.
Yeah, I love that as well. I mean, it was one of my questions, sort of how do you view yourselves in the wider market as well? And do you see other people or other businesses, breweries brewing 0.5 or 0.0% beers as a help or a hindrance? But it's got to be a help in a way, right?
It's always harder to fight against more people, if they're not going to list for us. But I get it. But the truth is, as I said, it's difficult. And for some breweries, they are busy making money off what they do very well. We do one thing, and that's what we do. And we do it really well, and it's great. And I'd love to see more people do it. But the truth is that you might spend 6 months trying to develop it, and then it's not going to be a great cost-effective beer because your system's set up to run profitable on alcohol, and we're making profitable on non-alcohol. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And look, if I lose a brewery or a tap house because they made their own, I'm not going to be upset as a salesman. I'm actually going to be like, great, they're talking about non-alcoholic beer. We, from the beginning, and especially Rob's dream, has always been that when you walk into whatever supermarket or whatever pub, you order Big Drop because of the flavor, not because it's non-alcoholic. You go, oh my God, I really want a Big Drop. That's the dream. That's why we look at it. So if someone else brings out a 0.5, that's an amazing. Brilliant. We're all having the same conversation.
And it could be another couple of thousand people or more to the category, right? Who then, as a result, enter in, they find Big Drop, and it's still got that massive growth potential.
Well, I just look at it. The thing I always try to remind my boss, when we're looking at avenues to go down sales, is like, we could go anywhere. Ice cream vans can sell our beer. I know that sounds really silly, but if it was a festival, if it was a music festival that was family friendly, and you had an ice cream van that was selling non-alcoholic beer as well on tap, I mean, like,
it reminds
would
me
make a killing.
It reminds me of the Boddington's advert of many a year back.
With the actual flake in it.
Chocolate flake in that, love. Oh, it's true though, and does that make I mean, with that in mind, what avenue do you think is going to be next for you then? Is it sort of the sports angle, which a lot of
well, we've got some exciting things coming up at the end of the year, which I don't really want to release too much information, but there will be another very cool collab coming along this year. So look out for that, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of press releases. So I won't give away too much on some of the stuff, but look, what we've always tried to do, as I said, be inclusive and look in that direction. One thing my boss doesn't want to do is go, oh, we're just going to go after elite sports people, or we're going to just go after the after work rugby club. It's not about that. It's about whatever occasion it is, whatever opportunity it is. If you're a beer lover and you can't have alcohol, there is an alternative, and hopefully that will just change people's attitude a little bit, and we'll get 10 years along the line, and someone will be like, oh, actually, I only drink non-alcoholic beers because they're banging, and I can still get on with my life and make loads of money and do what I do. And people's attitude changes. I'm sure over in Europe, it is a little bit different like that. You separate the celebrations to keep them on the weekend, whereas over here in the UK, we drink a little bit more. We drink a little bit more often, and I think we're all waking up to it a little bit.
And Yeah, it's I can definitely recognise that. And so let's talk a little bit about the beers then, right? Obviously we're
Yeah, we've been chatting for a while.
drinking the APA. Now, have you got the APA open as well?
Mm-hmm. I've actually just finished that would be the third can I've had today.
Oh, good work. Well, you're definitely an expert on it then now.
Oh man, like as I said, I only got to me this morning. Or so yesterday evening, and then I got in the fridge this morning, and I only tried it when I got back from the walk with the dog. I'm really, really impressed with it. You get nice bitterness on the back of the tongue. It's notes of pine, little bits of pine in there, but not so like the fresh pine like our pale trail. It's more a little bit more like heavier, resiny, and soft grapefruit as well. I mean, it's all about the American hops in this one. We're throwing all the 3 C's, so it's Chinook, Cascade, and Sentinel. So we've just loaded over American hops in there, nice and smooth. But we've removed the lactose, so the replacement will be maltodextrin. Obviously, maltodextrin is a slightly semi-fermentable sugar, so Johnny's had to tweak the recipe to make that balance. So that's why it's taken so long, because obviously we started with our backbone pale ale, but then you remove a major ingredient and you have to start again. So I'm actually really impressed with this. The last time I tried this would have been in R&D stage about just before Christmas.
And so with that in mind, how long does it take from conception through to, you must go through a bunch of iterations. It's been one of the topics of conversation through the weekend already, but how long does it take from conception through to right, it's on the shelves?
We we can have ideas and say, I really want to do this at a Christmas party or something like that, and then 2 weeks later Johnny's done it. And you're like, how did you do that? And he's like, because I was tweaking a recipe that I've been working on for like this long, and I've always thought about this, and then I did it this way, and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then with the vegan one, where it's a little bit more specific, where he had to really, really find the solution to get the nicer version of this beer. It's taken nearly 3 and a bit years. We wanted it straight away. We wanted it as we started to step up from being the original guys in the shed making beer, but it's just been that developed to get it right. One of the best things I've ever heard from one of the brewing teams we work with, when we were working with the guys at Forbure, we were having a little problem with some of our bottles fobbing after being filtered, and one of the guys turned around and said, like, this is breaking edge brewing technology, because you are working in 0.5, and these tiny little particles that were causing the fobbing are not, you don't get them on the bigger filters, they get filtered out.
You're right, okay.
It just doesn't happen, so because it's so low. And it's really interesting because we then have to come up with solutions and work with different teams to come up with these things. And obviously we're gypsy brewers, so then we have to contract brewers, and then we've got to move around, and we've got to find the people that, there is a lot of it. And I'll tell you what, the logistics team that work with Johnny hand in hand to get it to go on, honestly, they blow my mind when you can turn around a beer in a couple of weeks and go, yeah, boom, done it. And you're like, he only just gave me the sample a week ago. What's going on?
Every time he's mentioned, he sounds like more of an enigma. Each time Johnny's spoken about. I've got to ask a little bit. What do you know about the Good Things Irish Stout? Because obviously there's a real tongue-in-cheek story behind it. Obviously jumping in there after the disappointment around Guinness, let's say the Guinness AF. Like that was so quick. That must have been a fun thing to do.
Do you know what? It was something we were like, oh, should we just do it the day they launched theirs? And we threw it around tongue in cheek, and we were like, no, that's just picking a fight with someone for no reason. Like, sure. We wouldn't do it. And then obviously they had problems. Yeah. They delayed their launch, and then they had more problems, and then they pulled it back off the shelves. And there was people out there like clamoring, going, why the hell? What's going on? And we'd had that idea, so we did. We just made a small run to see if it could be done, and then went, there you go, it's available. We had no intention to, bring it out and be like, we're the new Guinness or anything like that. It was dealt with brilliantly. It was more just people putting their hand up and going, look, if you want something that's that style, we haven't done it before, but we'll do it. And we did it, and we did a small run, and it was very popular, and it went out. And once again, it's more about being part of a community and saying it can be done. And
I loved it. I thought it was great. I think there was it kept a real excitement up within people who were trying it, and it kept that buzz up going as well.
Did
So
you like it? Did you?
I
Did
really
it?
enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of my friends that have said that's like their favourite thing that we've ever done, and they're like, "Why can't it be a core range?" And I'm like, "Because we did it as a small little joke. We don't want to be like causing trouble." But yeah, no, it was popular.
But that's a nice challenge to have, though. Surely, when you come out with these, and there's a question coming up around the summer series that's just gone. But it's a nice challenge to have, to say, you know what, that was absolutely brilliant. We loved it, but we're not going to go again with it, and we'll move on to the next. How hard is that as a decision to make, to not throw something into court?
I mean, I've seen a few beers that I actually loved fall away. You never know. It may rear its head again in the future in a different market or something like that. So yeah. I don't get precious over my favorite beers.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we've been trialing and doing flavors and having beers be more successful in like the Swedish market than in the UK market from the very beginning. So we, versatile, adaptive, or whatever you want to use. Like if people really, really want it and they're banging on our door, we'll make the beer. But also we're a business and we've got to grow and do the right thing. So sometimes a smaller run for a smaller period is what needs to be done. And it's exactly like what other breweries will do, craft or not craft. Why would they make more beer than they need? You make what people want, and then if it's not popular, bring it back. Some of our dark beers are never going to work in the height of summer because they're dark beers. But at the same time, we have a versatile enough category that you could probably drink a big drop all year round and never get bored, which is kind of the aim.
I ask it specifically, speaking for myself, and I know a lot of other people, because of the poolside in particular, which is just so popular. And judging by your smile, you know it already. But
yeah, I mean,
I know everyone would love to see that again.
People just clamored for that one. I don't know if Johnny stopped patting himself on the back because
really?
He said he knew it was going to do. He was like, when he made it was going to do well, and then we all sampled it, and then James Kindred, the other founding owner, he was like, yeah, that's going to do well. Like, can I have a case of it now, please? And the truth is, it will probably come back in one way or another. But once again, I can't confirm or deny. Like, if it's popular, as I said, if there's enough demand for it, we'll see it come out. And even if we do like what we do with our sour, we brew seasonally, or we do with our winter spice, we brew seasonally. If the summer special comes out every year because it's demand, maybe it just gets a summer release rather than a special release. But that once again, it all depends on what people want. We are still a craft brewery.
Love it. And I've got to ask another big theme of the weekend so far, and just a general topic of within AF Beer is draft. So when things sort of really open up again in earnest, are we going to be expecting to see big drop on draft in more and more venues as well?
I mean, I am glad to say that I've had actually amazing support all across London for our keg stuff. And actually, I'm surprised to see how many people are putting kegged non-alcs on and have been in the last 2 years or so. Obviously, lockdown changed things. We are still making kegs. We're still putting kegs in barrels. We're still selling to wholesalers. We're still going forwards. In fact, we're even putting the Pine Trail into kegs now to be able to go to smaller venues. So actually, yeah, you're going to see us in more and more taps. I'm not sure how the industry is going to cope with the tap thing, because now everyone's going to be sat down for at least the next 6 months, getting sat down table service. So having a flashy tap is less as important as having a really educated server.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't really know. I think it will come down to what's best for the business that we're in. And if we're talking about some of the larger pub groups that can afford to have lines that aren't super profitable constantly, you might turn around and go, yeah, they're going to have it on tap and they're going to make better profit in that tap than they would if they just had package. But then you might turn around and be a single mum and dad pub who's like, I can't afford to crack a keg and not sell it, so I'm going to get packaged. The truth is, it's really scary right now because everyone's trying to do what's best for them, but we also have to kind of predict what we think the market's right. And tap beer is obviously the best profit margin for any pub, but there's more margin in a pint of Stella than there is in a pint of non-alcoholic beer. It's just always going to be like that. So we'll see. Obviously, I think packaged in the form of can is going to be the biggest market going forwards. Just from ecological point of view, when we talk about sustainability, we talk about recycling, we talk about weight, we talk about every aspect of it. Cans come across better, and you just I can see that's the movement in the bars. I'm not sure so much in restaurants. You're always going to have restaurants wanting to sit down with a glass bottle and a glass chilled glass and have that level, but I do think the biggest growth market within non-alcoholic craft would probably be the can, personally.
Oh, Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. Is there anything else that you want to share about anything going on in the world of Big Drop that we've not covered?
No, we've done everything. As I said, I don't want to give away too much. I really wish Dane could have been here to tell you how the American market's shaping up, but obviously vaccines come first and he's been knocked sideways, so he apologized for not being here. But I love chatting about non-alcoholic beer, and I just don't know where we're going to be in a year, but I know that it's not going to be going backwards. Like I want to be out there and talking about non-alcoholic beer as many pubs as possible. So reach out to us, and I will spend my time talking non-alcoholic beer like I do every day.
Awesome, Matt. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Cheers. Maybe you can crack open your fourth now.
No, I've got to go and make the missus dinner.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, nice Saturday dinner. Anyway,
Excellent.
mate.
Enjoy.
Thanks for your time.